Yeah, so the end of year lists have started coming in.
Yeah. Right.
And the DSPs are dropping their charts and lists.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. Why was it better time ranked higher than Burna Boy's album 2016?
I mean, this caused a lot of uproar. So I got a lot of those lists from these DSPs, and I put them on some of my social media platforms, especially on my Twitter platforms. The Apple Music list caused a lot of uproar, even more than the Spotify rap list. It was crazy. No, the Spotify rap list caused a lot of uproar more than the Apple Music list. But the problem that I love about the Apple Music list was it was a lot of stand battles versus stand battles. Oh, my fave is bigger than yours. My own fave is more than yours. You're all stupid. Just shut up. Dumb people. You are like the only people that have a chance to be vindicated are people that actually understand and have knowledge of how things work. You don't understand. You're just in your feelings about stupidity. Shut up. Now let's go back to this thing. Burna Boy and Davido, bro. It's very obvious why. As much as Burna Boy's album charted high on the Billboard 200, at the time it was the highest charting Nigerian album. If I'm not wrong, it debuted at number 53. The problem is very simple. The argument is very simple, bro. Why in the world would A Better Time, Twice as Tall chart higher than A Better Time? Two things sustain albums. One, the power of singles. Two, the status of the artist. Those two things. The power, the sale of the artist, and then the discovery of new music. Those things carry. Now, Burna Boy has status, but the album peaked after it dropped, shortly after it dropped, right? Not commercially because it's Burna Boy, people are going to continue streaming. But the singles that were required to sustain the album were just not there. And let's not argue with ourselves. Burna Boy is not a bigger artist than Davido in Nigeria. He's not. Now, this list ranked Nigerian music consumption in Nigeria. Does that make sense? I mean, does everybody want to put their eggs in their asses? I don't understand. Now, on a bet, Twice as Tall was a calculated Grammy move. Mistake on Burna Boy's part. It didn't have a lot of Nigerian singles. Some of the songs that could have been pushed with Nigeria were not. Probably the most Nigerian single that they pushed was Anywhere, which was a horrible record. That opinion is now going to change. It was a horrible record. But I understood why they did it, like I've said for a long time. It makes sense that they did it because it suits the sentiments of the academy. And I was talking to the head of that category, global music category, like some weeks ago. You can read the interview on Pulse, where I was talking about this is what they want. So Burna Boy literally tied into their sentiment. Now, it was a bad reflection for us, but he won him a Grammy. It's fine, I'm happy for him, but it's still a horrible record, right? Now, what are the other singles that they pushed from the album? Most Stars You Made, not exactly a pop record. They pushed Real Life, not exactly Nigerian pop record. They pushed 23. Bro, these are not exactly Nigerian pop records. Now, in contrast, look at the records that they pushed. That I shot the video for Jowo, shot the video for The Best, shot the video for which other record? For the record with CK, right? These are Nigerian records. These are records that can sustain albums. Moreover, is Davido. Davido, that Nigerians take 150 million naira. Do you understand? That's a lot of brand equity. Like, and again, people are saying so it's a justification of the quality of the album. No, it was not. Davido himself cannot sit down and tell you that the album was a successful album. It's a fact. Yes, the album, critical acclaim and commercial success are two opposite different things. Davido is not going to have bad numbers, except maybe 15 years from now, when there are other people that superstars are bigger than him. So long as he's still one of the top three, if he drops empty, if he releases a body of work and doesn't say anything on it for 10 tracks, it's going to trend because he's fucking Davido. That's how it works. And it's a digital era. Davido is signed to majors, and that means that because he's also a big artist that DSPs are vested in, immediately he's going to drop his music. Playlists are going to follow. Different things are going to follow. It's not possible that Davido is going to have horrible numbers. So, bruh, it's not surprising that A Better Time is ranked higher than Twice as Tall. Just get your sense up. People need to stop arguing stupidly, right? Please.
Yeah, interesting. Alright, Wizkid made it to a lot of these lists.
Yeah.
What do you think is responsible for his dominance?
It's very simple because number one, Made in Lagos. Made in Lagos is the biggest African album of the year. Made in Lagos, people will drop new albums and Made in Lagos will go back. And do you know why Made in Lagos kept going back? Because of Essence. Essence became a stream monster. It created fear of missing out. It was on social media. Bro, it's only natural that, see, when you see an album charting high, it doesn't mean that all the records, it could be one song, because the streaming era means that it's not like the old days when we used to buy CDs for like $9.99 a share, right? When you buy the CD, it means that you are paid for the entire thing, so you can be calculated with it. But the digital era means that only one song can be the reason why an album has a lot of streams. Do you understand? Like for example, Lil Durk charted in Nigeria in the top 10 artists in Nigeria. Lil Durk. Now, a lot of people I was speaking with a lot of people about like to research more on the reason why. A lot of your boys love him. Trapland, right? A lot of your boys love him. So I'm not surprised. They love him. They love Lil Baby as well. But fam, the entire submission of Apple Music subscribers in Nigeria is less than how many? It's not a lot. It's not a lot, bro. It's less than 1 million. It's not a 500K. Let's not lie to ourselves. Now, when it comes down to it, how many Yahoo boys are then streaming? You have iPhones, right? But a lot of Nigerians that can afford to stream music are still not streaming music. How do you know that all of them are listening to Lil Durk on Apple Music and Spotify? Do you understand? And even, bro, let's not lie to ourselves. Yeah? When it comes down to Lil Durk, the song Drake charted in the top 5, if I'm not wrong, on Apple Music, right? Apple Music artists, Apple Music consumption in Nigeria. Laugh Now, Cry Later was a big record. Do you understand? Laugh Now, Cry Later might be the major reason why Lil Durk is there. He also released an album with Lil Baby. Made a lot of playlists because of that. So, bro, it only goes to reason that Made in Lagos is going to be there. Now, a lot of people are also questioning why Made in Lagos Deluxe is the one. Bro, Made in Lagos Deluxe had all the songs from Made in Lagos and then the additional songs, which included Mood and Anoti. And the Essence remix with Justin Bieber, the one that really blew up. What is it? Why are people acting so obtuse? I was. None of the comments on those things were very funny because there's no justification. It's just there is nothing surprising about this list. You are just very ignorant. Simple.
How potent is Spotify Wrapped as a marketing tool?
Bro, I read an article last year. Spotify Wrapped is probably Spotify's most potent marketing tool. It's so because see, digital era. I've said it several times on the show. If you can inspire fear of missing out, FOMO, bro, you have won a lot of things. Do you know what Spotify Wrapped does? It helps people track their usage rates throughout the year and it gives them the data. People love to be validated. It's validation. Number one, I'm using Spotify. Brand equity, the grand Spotify. And Spotify is ranking me. People love to feel special. It's the grandiose ideal self. Everybody has an ego. It's narcissism, right? 2. Number 3, you're also giving me, I can then show it off to people. And these are my receipts. Especially if the number one, maybe the artist or the album I listen to throughout the year is one random artist that nobody knows. Then people can then look at it and say, this guy knows music. That's how people think. And they're not even thinking of this thing consciously. It's subconscious. That's why people are showing it up and putting hashtags on it because they want to show that they listen to Spotify as well. Now, people that don't use Spotify, the ones that don't use Spotify, they also want to do it. It's fear of missing out. Literally. It's such a potent tool. But what I would love to see is they are growing fast. Like 6 months, like 5 or 6 months after they launched, they had like a reported 80,000 subscribers, as Bloomberg reported in an article, in a very, very controversial article. Let's just put it that way, right? They 80,000 subscribers. Now, you are right, you are fast rising. Most DSPs don't rise that fast because you have a lot of brand equity. Number one, you have Spotify. People also want to use you and you came cheap, like every other platform. Oh, my guy. There are ways that I think it could be done in Nigeria. Imagine, look, the Davido thing, when put up an account of Afroput. It shows us a lot of potential. Like we did an episode of it on this show. What I want people to realize is, why is Spotify not leading with an artist? Okay, Davido shows off. Davido and Burna Boy, or maybe one of the big three, says, my Spotify wrapped whatever for the year. Do you know the amount of people that would inspire to register Spotify accounts? Celebrity-led approach to marketing. It's going to be madness. And Davido says, show me yours. Bro. How much are you going to pay Davido? Pull out the entire money that you're going to use to place it in different markets and give it to Davido, let him do it. What you're going to get from that, you'll be shocked. Or maybe if it's whiskey, bro. But the problem is a lot of these artists are not might also not want to be a part of it because they don't want to show that they are loyal to one DSP or another. But if you give them the right bag, if it's a superstar artist that another DSP would need to live with, they will collect it and they will do it. And the second thing I would like them to use it to launch different marketing campaigns. So my idea is very simple. You know how turn it to like a pyramid scheme. You are already fast rising, but create it in a sense that for every I'm a user, I have a unique registration code. I can give it to other people to register through it. For the amount of X amount of registers, if it's just 100 naira to pay for Spotify every month, for the amount of people I register, I get a percentage in terms of like fee reduction for like 18 months after I register the person, right? A percent of your fee reduction. So that means maybe if I register like, if people use my link to register, maybe like 100 people, I can get maybe 100 naira or 200 naira reduced from my Spotify registration for the next 18 months. So that means instead of paying 900 naira, I'm paying like 600, 700 naira. That's a potent thing. And for people, you literally see that a lot of people will be registering people because they don't want to pay anything. That is a way to register your company. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think they should explore that. Pay me for that, Spotify.
That's interesting. So a lot of people might be surprised that CK didn't make it to a lot of these.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It's very simple because Love 160 peaked last year in Nigeria. This again, people need to remember that this list ranked Nigerian music consumption in Nigeria. Does that make sense? In Nigeria, not outside Nigeria. The people that have listened to CK's Love 160 before, it was a hit record in 2020. At the start of lockdown. It was a smash hit record alongside Nobody. Nobody was alongside Nobody at the time. So it's unlikely that people that are listening to it then to come and listen to it again because it's trending. It's not big. It's not the time between the time it was released and now is not long enough to inspire nostalgia. Yes, on TikTok it's going to inspire people to create videos, but the TikTok success made the world hear it, not us. I'm not saying people didn't listen to it, but you can't compare it to newer songs that are trendier, that are more trendy. So it's unlikely to usurp some of those trendy songs. We celebrate CK, but Love 160 is not one of the biggest Nigerian songs of the year in Nigeria. It's not top 10. And it's only reasonable that it's not. Simple.
Interesting. So Nigerian songs topped a lot of charts in other African countries. I mean, I can remember opening my Apple Music on this. I opened to Ghana's list and I saw Nigerian songs.
Olamide Symphony top like 2 countries with Tanzania and Kenya or something. This kid was like, Biggie was topping in Ghana. Like this guy Davido in Ghana. I think Davido's A Better Time was the #1 album in Ghana. It's crazy. Like, if you wanted evidence of how Nigerian music Nigeria is the America of Africa in terms of culture, that's it. It doesn't get bigger than that. Let's move on.
So gospel songs charted on YouTube's list.
Bro, yeah.
Of top music videos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
That's
for
a chill.
music,
bro, it's a good one. Gospel is an underrated genre of music in Nigeria. The only reason why we're not seeing it anymore, how big gospel is because a lot of Afro-pop artists, their digital footprints can be tracked. But with a lot of gospel artists, you can't track the impact of some of their songs. Some of them don't even have digital footprints. Like you will see a record that is genuinely a part of the Nigerian zeitgeist, but it doesn't have a lot of numbers online because people that are listening to those records are listening to it via Bluetooth transfers, not via DSPs, right? So it's very difficult to track. But bro, gospel is big. And every year that YouTube releases a list of top 10 videos, there's usually a gospel artist there. 2 years ago, or last year, there was Mr. Chinwo for 2019. Last year, there was a gospel artist. So bro, it's just natural, man, at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's round this up with your top Nigerian albums for 2021. Let's shake
Yeah,
something.
it's been a fantastic year for albums, or bodies of work in Nigerian music, maybe not albums. The number one thing is, it was a tough one to rank Nigerian artists based on, to rank EPs, especially 4-5 track EPs. Especially I had a full-length album that had like 10 tracks.
I love those.
But some of the EPs were just so good that I couldn't overlook them. So as honorable mentions, I have Zlatan's Reson. This was the closest one to the top 10. Closest. So I'm going to put it as a respectable 11. It was so tough to put this album at number 11 because quality-wise, a lot of people don't know because people don't listen to something that people are not talking about as much. Nigerian music listeners are so reactive. It's a lot of knee-jerk reactions and FOMO. When something is part of the conversation, they don't want to be left out of it. But most of them don't discover music anyway. But this album was so good. It was so good. After the debacle that was Zlatan's debut album, Zanko, I didn't expect his debut album to be this good. Reson, the opening track, that guy, is one of my favorite tracks of the year. Fantastic. It's so good. Johnny Drill, before we fall asleep. I'm not the biggest Johnny Drill fan. Not my opinion. But I'm not the biggest Johnny Drill fan. So, because his music has always seemed so regimented to me and it tied into the idea of what made him look special or different to what was popularly obtainable in Nigeria. So I was never a fan of music. Never. I never liked it. But I liked the record that he did, the commercial record, Mystery Girl. Fantastic. I thought it was a turning point for him. So it made me pay attention to his records. And then after that, I went to Bad Dancer. I'm like, So, Johnny Drills, before we fall asleep, it was so refreshing. I mean, it alienated his fan base, obviously, because a lot of them couldn't relate with it, Johnny Drill. That they couldn't reconcile this song from a Johnny Drill they fell in love with. But this album was good. It's such a good album, so smooth. A lot of commercially obtainable record that showed Johnny Drill's range. Oh wow, this guy really has range. Fantastic. Buju's, sorry for the wait, fantastic. Joe Boy's, a lot of people are going to have a problem because Joe Boy's somewhere between Beauty and Magic. What did he make the top 10? Well, you guys are going to be fine. The truth is, good album, really good songs, but not a great album. Not a great album. It's good enough to be in honorable mentions, but it's not good enough to be in the top 10. Everybody else has a problem with it, that's a problem. Has a lot of numbers, commercial success. Yes, shout out to him, but not exactly. Then Bella Shmurda, the EP that they dropped, didn't have as much impact as people hoped, but we're still going to put him here. Now in the top 10, Olamide's US Kuti. People are going to say, oh, he has a lot of numbers, but the impact wasn't exactly, they didn't have a lot of records. It's still hard rock. However you want to look at it. So, good album, incredible replay value. If you want to know more about it, you can listen to our review of the album on Pulse. Number 9 is AQ's Golden for me. AQ's Golden was that album. In terms of AQ's discography, God's Engineering might be his essential album, but Golden is easily his best album. It was talking about different topics. It was deep. It was astute lyrically. It was rapping from a place of incredible knowledge and depth and conviction as well. Success will be a lot of things to you. If you want to check more on the album, you can read a review about the album. At number 8, I'm going to go for Tiwa Savage's Water and Gary, because the thing about this album, EP, is just that it's so smooth. It's just so smooth. Like Zlatan. Tiwa Savage's last album, Celia, wasn't great. It was very average. It was good. It wasn't average. But to a lot of people, they're going to consider it average. But this album, this EP was so smooth. Like the songs, Tiwa Savage didn't go for commercial records as much as you could think of. I think that's why she was clear-headed. And that was why the excellence in the music came out by itself. Like Tales by Moonlight, the record would say Iwa. And then at the tip of that, Anthem for Women, Somebody's Son, which side by side with Ciara's Prayer underlines that men are still the prize, bro. Then Black Moses Sex Overload, which is Nigeria's number 1 rap album of this year. Fantastic album. I'm going to put it at number 7. It's so good. It showed everything Black Bones was about, showed his growth as an artist, and all around high replay value. At number 6, I'm going to put Leah's Alari EP. This is the most slept on Nigerian project of 2021. I think everybody that has plays this EP will be incredibly impressed by Leah. Leah went into, like, people are going to say her vocals on the album had a lot of special effects, but still look at how she was using her vocals and experimenting with her range. And the way she was delivering her record with amazing technique. Bro, this EP, musically, amazing. I think people should check it out. At number 5, I'm going to have CK's Boyfriend. Bro, CK had a great year, obviously. Everybody just needs to listen to that EP. Sonically, it's so experimental in terms of Afro-pop. It's such an experimental Afro-pop project. But at the same time, you have to respect it for what it is. At number 4, I have Allstars, Post-Lifestyle Volume 1. This album had a hit record. It had some buzzworthy records. A lot of people are going to argue with that. Well, this, that. My guy, you guys don't play music. And if you play music, you only react to things that people are reacting to online. It's only good to you when people are talking about it online. Just listen to music, man. This album is fantastic. Listen to it. High replay value, 10 tracks. Back to back to back. It doesn't stop. It's such a good body of work. And number 3, I'm going to have Ruga. The first EP, Pandemic. Not just because he had Bounce, obviously, or Abu Dhabi, which is a record. Someone is telling me that Abu Dhabi is a big record. I went to Akure, for example. I saw people listening to Abu Dhabi. I'm like, this is not the record I expect you guys to be listening to, but they're listening to it anyway. Right? I'm not even talking about young, like teenagers. I'm talking about young adults, like 20-something, 25. I expect you to be listening to Naira Marley. You know, like people on the streets are listening to you and they're singing along to it. It's crazy. So Ruga's Pandemic EP definitely at number 3. Number 2, I'm going to have Loje, Love and Attention EP. Bro, what do you want to say about this EP? 5 tracks, all bangers. I was at, shout out to Panda Entertainment. I was at their show live in concert over the weekend. People were singing these songs, word for word. It's crazy. The R&B song Tonongo, Love and Attention with Wizkid, and the Smash It Mona Lisa. People were singing it for him. At number 1, Ira Star, 19 and Dangerous. It was a straightforward choice because in a year filled with a lot of EPs, this is the best album that dropped in 2021. And to crown it off, he had Bloody Samaritan as a hit record. For whatever reason, you can argue, you can deny it, you can hide from it, but you can't escape it. It's going to meet you. Okay. But away from Bloody Samaritan, he also had a lot of single-worthy records, Biggie, Fashion Killer. But away from that, this album was just so good. It exemplified everything Ira Star was, and it brought out the excellence in how she could execute them. R&B records, pop records. Bro, there was after Biggie, after Fashion Killer, there was a 3-record window where Ira Star was just on this incredible R&B run. Fantastic album, and then there was Bridgerton towards the end, and then there was the way she ended the record. Easily number 1 Nigerian album of 2020. And in a year that had a lot of EPs, this is the best full-length body of work that dropped. And it had its impact. It had a lot of replay value. It might have been made by a new artist, but this is easily Nigeria's best album of the year. Easy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alright, so you've given us your albums.
Yeah.
How about your top artists?
Top artists, it wasn't straightforward either. It was very dramatic. We had a lot of arguments and a lot of perspective from people. I had to switch some things. But number 1, we are going to go with honorable mentions first. And I have Zinoleesky. Zinoleesky honorable mentions because, so this list, we charted it from December 1 last year to November 30 this year. So that's a 12-month window. We couldn't exactly chart the records that were released in December because that would be unfair. Some of those records are not exactly mature yet. Now, Zinoleesky released an EP last year, I think December 12 or December 13 or December 11, one of them. And it produced Kilo Feshe. Kilo Feshe had a remix with Miyoko that ran into the first half of 2021. Now, this year is had Comfa and Naira Marley. Not exactly biggest records, but it's doing well. So you have to put him there. Then Ladipo, obviously, is an honorable mention. A lot of people are going to shout, oh, why is Ladipo not there? Ladipo is one of the hottest Nigerian artists. It's not just top 10 Nigerian artists of the year. Because you look at it critically, Ladipo had 2 records that were really big this year. He had No You, the momentum of No You slightly came into the year. But then the major hit record that he had this year is Feeling, which is one of the biggest Nigerian records of the year. Make no mistake. Top 3, top 5. So for some people, it's going to be number 1. Anybody that puts it number 1, you can't argue against it, but it's not going to mean as many number 1s, but it's fine. So you have to look at it. But then his album didn't exactly create great amounts of buzz, and then still had Running with Fire, but which is a buzzworthy record. It might not exactly the biggest song, but it's a buzzworthy record. Then we have Thames. People are going to cry their eyes out when they see that Thames is not on our top 10, and that's their problem. But at the root of Thames had a lot of buzz, and rightly so, because she deserves some of the work that she's done. If you don't deserve it, you are not going to get it. Maybe sometimes you get it without deserving, but in that case, she deserved it. But when you take away everything, Thames was buzzing for 2 reasons. Aside the fact that she's a super talented artist, she was buzzing for 2 reasons: Essence and the record with Drake. Crazy Things, yeah, but not exactly. Essence is Whiskey's record. Thames made the record greater. She's the nucleus of the record. She's a spark on the record. But it's also it was released in October 2019. The buzz came into this year. Yes, it was one of the biggest Nigerian records of the year. Yes, top 20, but is it that big of a record in terms of like streets? It's not a pop record, it's a disadvantage. It makes sense. But at the same time, it doesn't exactly make sense to put Thames there because, and then the Drake record, bro. Drake is one of the top 10 most streamed artists on Apple Music in Nigeria. But bro, not exactly. You can't put Thames there. And then for Crazy Things, something is missing there. When you take away the idea of why Thames is buzzing and look at the actual things in Nigeria, not across the world. We are charting this list for performances in Nigeria from December 1, 2020 to November 30, 2021. Not exactly. So let's move on to the main list right now. At number 10, we have Mohbad. In December last year, Mohbad released an EP, light EP. Beautiful EP. Had this record. I think people should go and listen to Holy on that EP.
It was fire.
Bro, such a beautiful record. And then he had a lot of buzzworthy records. He had Antita Kusomola, and he had the record that was pissing a lot for guys that I can't say on this show. I'm so scared. I can't say all these things. And then he had KPK. KPK was slightly released outside the year in review, but the success of KPK came during the year in review and even to Q4 this year. Like Q1 this year. Such a big record. The only problem that record had is that we didn't have Dirty December. If we had Dirty December, it would have been the killing them of this year. Easy. So he had that. Then he had oh God. And then he has released like a bunch of other records that have caught fire. So it only makes sense that I'll put Mohbad on this list. Now, we left Naira Marley of the honorable mentions of the major list to go to the honorable mentions of the top 10 because as much as Naira Marley had Koleyewo and Coming, Mohbad had the body of work to support his. So, and then Mohbad also had KPKs. So in terms of, if you bring the units together, Naira Marley, Koleyewo and Coming is going to put out the units of, it's arguably going to put out the units of KPK and Emitigbera on God, right? But in terms of all those arguments, the bigger record from the 4 is still KPK by a long mile. And so it makes sense. On digital platforms, you can see that KPK is everywhere. It's on every chart, right? So at number 9, we're going to put Loje. Very difficult choice to make, to put Loje this low, but when we really understand, when we really look at it, his EP was fantastic. And then he had Mona Lisa, which is arguably, for a lot of people, are going to say the hottest Nigerian record of the year. You can't argue against it. It's what it is. So at number 9, we are going to have to put Loje there. At number 8, we have Allstars. Allstars, fantastic. Dropped 2 bodies of work this year. A debut EP, Allstars EP, which had Away, and which had the R&B record that was really big. And then her album, which had Fashion Killer, Biggie, Bloody Samaritan, and Bridgerton, right? Big album. Nigeria's our number 1 album of the year. So it only makes sense that she's here. Joe Boy at number 7. Easy choice to make because he dropped an album that had a lot of buzzworthy records. Maybe not hit records per se, a lot of buzzworthy records. And then he's ended the year with Alcohol. Bro, come on. Number 6 for sure. Number 7 for sure. Number 6, we have Ruga. 2 bodies of work this year. Pandemic, dropped Pandemic EP, which had Ruga, just the record. He had Abu Dhabi and he had the Bounce, which was one of the biggest record of the year. And then he has a second EP, which has Dior, which is one of the biggest second songs of the year right now. Then at number 5, we have Adekunle Gold. People are going to argue and but bro, he has high. He has high, and it's spread across the year. There's high, it is what it is, that's how the year, and there's Sinner. You won't realize how Sinner is until you walk into the street and see how big that song is. You'll be surprised, your mind will be blown. Especially with women, and whatever women endorse, it goes. At number 4, we have Davido. Davido, Easy, didn't have the best of years in terms of releases, but when you look at the songs from his album, some of them spilled onto the year. Jowo, the best, they spilled onto the year, and La 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 spilled onto the year as well. And then you're looking at a record like K-Star. It's one of the biggest Nigerian records. It's one of the biggest songs in Nigeria this year. And it was big because of him. The same thing goes for High by Adekunle Gold, right? Then Wizkid. Let's not even go there. Why are we talking about it? We shouldn't be talking about it. Wizkid is number 3. It's fine. Number 2, we have Buju, who is Nigeria's MVP of 2021. Because it wasn't meant to succeed, but it hasn't just succeeded, it has strived and held it down. And at number 1, we have Omale. People are going to argue this, but when you break it down, you understand why Omale tops this list. Yes, Omale dropped Godly after the year review. Yes, Omale dropped an EP slightly after the year review, but when you sit down and break it down, Omale's Godly is one of the biggest songs of this year on streaming platforms. Yes, we can't use streaming to judge the reality, but Godly is actually a huge record. It's a huge record. So Godly is there. He had Forever. You guys forgotten that? He had Forever with Jackie. That's probably the biggest song in Africa at some point. In Nigeria as well, it was so big. It was huge on social media as well. And then he had Pronto with Allstars. Yeah. Those records were spread throughout the year. Then he had Understand. Don't forget that. So Omale is the hottest Nigerian artist of the year. Simple.
But it seems to me like you're leaving out the elephant in the room, because some viewers are going to ask us this.
Yeah. So Burna Boy, right?
Yeah, Burna Boy.
Burna Boy can't be on this list because as much as the success of his album also spilled onto this year, where are the singles? The songs that they shot videos for. Ginger with Wizkid. Yeah. Literally came and went. Literally just came and went. We can't put him there, obviously. And then the singles that he dropped this year, he dropped Question and Kilometer. None of them are hit records. And then he's dropped fantastic record, but is it a hit record? No. So how do we then put him ahead of some of these guys? Take away the grandiose idea of what this guy has been doing outside. Let's bring it home. What has been happening? Where are the records, the hit records, the mega smashes? Not exactly that. I mean, it's not been a bad year by any means for Odogu, bro. Don't get it twisted. But musically, has it been as successful as it has been in previous years? No, that's factual.